Hi, everybody. How are you? I don't know about you, but like my heart is thumping. I feel sweaty. I really want to talk to Amir some more. Can you please actually stand up and give him a standing ovation? I'm Jessica Stern, and I'm the director of OutRight, and I have the great pleasure of closing out today with just a couple of summary remarks from what we heard from our various speakers, and also some announcements. So first, the announcements, and then the summary remarks. First of all, I don't know if any staff from CUNY are in the room right now. I see the executive director of the Sorensen Center, Camille Massey, but I would like to wholeheartedly thank CUNY for hosting us today. Thank you, Camille. Thank you to all of the colleagues who are here. I want to thank the more than 50 people who I'm aware of that got on a plane, a train, or in an automobile for a very long time to be here today. Thank you to the activists who came in for Advocacy Week. Thank you to people who drove in from Massachusetts. Thank you to those of you who are actually New Yorkers and came from like other boroughs to Queens on a Saturday. Thank you wholeheartedly to the members of the OutRight Board of Directors who took red eyes, who sat in middle seats, and generally did everything possible to be here to hear from community members from around the world. And I want to particularly thank my colleagues at OutRight, most especially HK and Mari, who have done so much work, it's inconceivable. Thank you, guys. After this, we are going to offer you some drinks, some dinner, and some music. I know there's at least one DJ in the house. I can't promise that it's going to be at your level of excellence, but I do believe that my colleague Ashton has taken responsibility for an excellent dance mix. So I just want to close out today by summarizing some of the things I heard today. One of our panelists said, this is not a very hopeful moment. It's not a very hopeful moment today in the United States. It's not a very hopeful moment in many countries around the world. But I feel like it is very hopeful to be in this room with all of you today. And so I want to summarize some of the things I heard from our panelists. I think the themes were fourfold. I heard information, I heard strategies, I heard urgency, and I heard resilience. And so Arvind appropriately asked, have we reached the manifesto stage of the day? Arvind, I ask that question every day. And I think as activists, even though we didn't find all of the answers, the reason we came out today is because we believe that we can make a better world for ourselves and for queer folks around the world and all of the other groups that are vulnerable and targeted today. So Arvind, I'm not going to promise you a perfect manifesto, but I'm going to do my best. All right. I heard, I'm going to try to take a line from each of the plenary speakers that I heard. I heard Mauro say, invest in sustainable strategies for strong movements for today, tomorrow, and the 4 years ahead. I heard George Ozzie say, when we question the strength of the international system, we must double down in our own work at the local and regional level. I heard Anya Duggan say, let's learn from the mistakes of our history, and let's not use single-issue movement strategies. I heard Teak say, Trump's election revealed the importance of the media profession and how differently the media needs to work to discredit racism and sexism and other forms of bias. I heard Cliff say, data, data, data will help set our communities free. I heard Miriam say, one of the best tools we have is to create our own narratives. I heard Ricky say, one of the best forms of survival is by building allies. I heard Jael say, we need structures in place that can weather the storm of dysfunctional individual leaders. We must invest in system change itself. I heard Alap talk about intersectionality, where queer issues intersect with climate justice, capitalism, and multinational corporations. I heard Amir say, it is always time to talk about human rights. And I want to close with an emphasis on two things. We only had one government official speak today, Randy Berry, the US Special Envoy on LGBTI rights. And he said something that I really hope every person in this room heard. And he said, civil society makes a difference. So every time you read the paper and your heart stops because you read about another appointment to a political office that makes no sense and is fundamentally unfair, think about your power. Think about your contribution to preventing such a political appointment in the future. Think about government officials that have told you you can make things better. And finally, I want to go to Bin Chu, who started the morning taking us back to one of the seminal moments in the international human rights movement, the Beijing Conference in 1995. And she said something that I honestly never expected to hear in connection with Beijing. I don't know why, because I've heard so many stories about the Beijing Conference over the years. And what she said is that the Chinese LGBTI movement was largely born in a disco. She said, we took up space where we weren't asked to be, and we danced, and we built a movement. And if this isn't the story of most queer movements that I know, well then, I'm not gay. So I want to ask you to take up space where you're not supposed to. And I want you to have fun and talk about policy and build organizations and dance and be creative. Because we have to be resilient today, tomorrow, the next 4 years, and beyond. And I hope you found some of that inspiration from your colleagues here at OutSummit. And I hope you'll continue the work with us for the rest of the night at least. Thanks, everybody.